Okay, so I'm up to chapter 17 of the first book of the Left Behind series, Left Behind. I have the book right here, and I'm going to start on page 312 where I left off. Chapter 17 of Left Behind, Part 2. The sixth seal judgment, Bruce continued, is God pouring out his wrath against the killing of his saints. This will come in the form of a worldwide earthquake, so devastating that no instruments would be able to measure it. It will be so bad that people cry out for the rocks to fall on them and to put them out of their misery. Now, this is not in the book, but this is actually referring to when Jesus is telling the woman back in his day that the rocks would fall on them and they would cry out. That was he was actually predicting that would happen. You know, the earthquake that would happen to them. You know, that was predicting what would happen to them in 66 AD when Jesus returned. He began his reign during the sixth seal, and the rocks fell on the people in Jerusalem, and they cried out for him while Jerusalem was being destroyed. That's what happened then. You know, Jesus sort of returned in 66 AD. Jesus returned in 66 AD. You know, a long, long time ago. He already returned. But that's what I believe personally as a preterist. Anyways, yeah, Jesus returned in 66 AD. Jesus returned in 66 AD. That's what I believe as a preterist. Anyways, yeah, let's continue. It'll be so bad that people cry out for rocks to fall on them and to put them out of their misery. Several in the room began to weep. The seventh seal introduces the 7 trumpet judgments, which will take place the second quarter of the 7-year period. The second 21 months, Rayford clarified. Right. I don't want to get into those tonight, but I warn you they're progressively worse. I want to leave you with a little encouragement. You remember we talked briefly about the 2 witnesses, and I said I would study that more carefully? Revelation 11, 3-14 makes clear that God's 2 special witnesses, with supernatural power to work out miracles, will prophesy 1,260 days clothed in sackcloth. Anyone who tries to harm them will be devoured. No rain will fall during the time that they prophesy. They will be able to turn water to blood and to strike the earth with plagues whenever they want. Satan will kill them at the end of the 3.5 years, and their bodies will lie in the prison, in the street of the city where Christ was crucified. Yeah, I meant to say street, not prison. The people that they have tormented will celebrate their deaths, not allowing their bodies to be buried. But after 3.5 days, they will rise from the dead and ascend to heaven in a cloud while their enemies watch. God will send another great earthquake, a tenth of the city will fall, and 7,000 people will die. The rest will be terrified and give their glory to God. Rayford glanced around the office as people murmured among themselves. They had all seen it. They reported the 2 crazy men preaching about Jesus at the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem. Is that them, someone asked? Who else could it be, Bruce said. It has not rained in Jerusalem since its appearances. These men came out of nowhere. They have the miraculous power of saints like Elijah and Moses, and they call each other Eli and Moishe. At this moment, the men are still preaching. The witnesses. Yes, the witnesses. If any one of us still harbored any doubts or fears, not sure what has been going on, these witnesses should allay them all. I believe these witnesses will see hundreds of thousands of converts, the 144,000 who will preach Christ to the world. We're on their side. We have to do our parts. Buck reached Hattie Durham at her home, number Tuesday night. So you're coming through New York? He said. Yes, she said. And I'd love to see you and maybe get to meet a VIP. You mean other than me? Cute, she said. Have you met Nikolai Carpathia yet? Of course. I knew it. I was just telling someone the other day that I'd love to meet that man. No promises, but I'll see what I can do. Where should we meet? My flight gets in there about 11 and I have a 1 o'clock appointment at the PanCon Club. But if we don't get back in time for that, it's okay. I don't fly out till morning. Didn't get to even tell the guy I would meet him at 1. Another guy, Buck said, you've got some weekend planned. It's something like that, she said. It's a pilot who wants to talk to me about something and I'm not sure I even want to listen. If I'm back and have time, fine. But I haven't committed to it. Why don't we meet at the club and see where we want to go from there? I'll try to arrange the meeting with Mr. Carpathia probably at his hotel. It was late Tuesday night when Chloe changed her mind and agreed to go to New York with her father. I can see you're not ready to be out without me, she said, embracing him and smiling. It's nice to be needed. To tell you the truth, he said, I'm going to insist on a meeting with Hattie and I want you there. For her protection or yours. Not funny. I've left her a message insisting that she see me at the PanCon Club at JFK at 1 in the afternoon. Whether she will or not, I don't know. Either way, you and I will get some time together. Daddy, time together is all we've had. I think you'd be tired of me by now. That'll never happen, Chloe. Early Wednesday morning, Buck was summoned to the office of Stanton Bailey, publisher of Global Weekly. In all his years of award-winning work, he had been in there only twice, once to celebrate his Hemingway War Correspondence Award, and once on a Christmas tour of what the employees enviously called Mahoney Row. Buck dug into Steve first, only to be told by Marge that he was in with the publisher already. Her eyes were red and puffy. What's happening, he said. You know I can't say anything, she said. Just get in there. Buck's imagination ran wild as he entered the suite of offices inhabited by the brass. He hadn't known Plank had been summoned too. What could it mean? Were they in trouble for the shenanigans they had pulled Monday night? Had Mr. Bailey somehow found out the details of the London business and how Buck had escaped? And he certainly had hoped this meeting would be over in time for his appointment with Hottie Durham. Bailey's receptionist pointed him to the publisher's outer office, where Secretary raised one brow and waved him in. "You're not going to announce me?" he joked. She smirked and returned to her work. Buck knocked quietly and carefully pushed open the door. Plank sat with his back to Buck and didn't turn. Bailey didn't rise but beckoned him in. "Sit right there next to your boss," Bailey said, which Buck thought an interesting choice of words. Of course it was true, but that was not how Steve was usually addressed. Buck sat instead. "Steve." Steve nodded, but kept looking at Bailey. "Couple of things, Williams," Bailey began. "But before I get down to business, you're cleared of everything overseas, right?" Buck nodded. "Yes, sir. There should never have been any doubt." "Well, of course there shouldn't, but you were lucky. I guess it was smart to make it look like whoever was after you got you, but you make us think for a while too, you know. Sorry, I'm afraid that was unavoidable. And you wound up giving them ammunition to use against you if they wanted to bust you for some reason. I know. That surprised me. But you got it taken care of. Right. How? Sir? What part of how don't you understand? How would you extricate yourself? We got word there were witnesses who say you did it. There must have been enough others who knew the truth. Tompkins was a friend of mine. I had no reason to kill him, and I sure didn't have the means. I wouldn't have the slightest idea how to make a bomb or transport it or detonate it. You could have paid to have it done. But I didn't. I don't run in those circles, and if I did, I wouldn't have had Alan killed. Well, the news coverage is all vague enough that none of us look bad. Just looks like a misunderstanding. Which it was. Of course it was, Cameron. I asked to see you this morning because I have just accepted one of the least welcome resignations I've ever received. Buck sat silent, his head spinning. Steve here tells me this will be news to you, so let me just drop it in on you. He is resigning immediately to accept the position of International Press Secretary Nikolai Carpathia. Steve here tells me this will be news to you, so let me just drop it on you. He is resigning immediately to accept the position of International Press Secretary to Nikolai Carpathia. He's received an offer that we can't come close to, and while I don't think it's wise or a good fit, he does, and it's his life. It's his life. What do you think about that? Buck couldn't contain himself. I think it stinks. Steve, what are you thinking of? You're going to move to Romania? I'll be headquartered here, Buck. At the plaza. Nice. I'll say, Steve, this isn't you. You're not a PR guy. Carpathia is no ordinary political leader. Tell me you weren't on your feet cheering Monday. I was, but nothing. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. Nothing else would have lured me from this job. Buck shook his head. I can't believe it. I knew Carpathia was looking for somebody, but... Steve laughed. Tell the truth, Buck. He offered it to you first, didn't he? No. He as much as told me he did. Well, he didn't. Matter of fact, I recommended Miller from Seaboard. Plank recoiled and shot a glance at Bailey. Really? Yeah, why not? He's more the type. Buck, Steve said. Eric Miller's body washed up on Staten Island last night. He fell off the ferry and drowned. Well, Bailey said summarily, enough of that ugly business. Steve has recommended you to replace him. Buck was still reeling for the news about Miller, but he heard the offer. Oh, please, he said. You're not serious. You wouldn't want the job, Bailey asked? Shape this magazine, determine the coverage, story the top more stories yourself? Sure you would. By policy, it would almost double your salary, and if that's what it took to get you the degree, I'd guarantee it. That's not it, Buck said, but I'm too young for the job I've got now. You don't believe that, or you wouldn't be as good at it as you are. Yeah, but that's the sentiment of the staff. What else is new? Bailey roared. They think I'm too old. They thought Steve was too laid back. Others thought he was too pushy. They complained if we brought in Mother Teresa. I thought she was missing. You know what I mean. Now how about it? I can never replace Steve, sir. I'm sorry. People may have complained, but they knew he was unfair and in their corner. And so would you be. But they'd never give me the benefit of the doubt. They'd be in here undermining me and complaining from day one. I wouldn't allow it. Now, Buck, this offer isn't going to sit on the table indefinitely. I want you to take it. I want to be able to announce it immediately. Buck shrugged and looked at the floor. Can I have a day to think about it? 24 hours. Meantime, don't say a word to anybody. Plank? Anybody else know about you? Only Marge. We can trust her. She'll never tell a soul. I had a 3-year affair with her and she never worried about anybody finding out. Steve and Buck flinched. Well, Bailey said, you never knew, did you? No, they said in unison. See how tight-lipped she is? He waited the beat. I'm kidding, boys. I'm kidding. He was still laughing as they left the office. Okay, so that's chapter 17 of the first book of the Left Behind series, Left Behind. Take care, everybody. Another video from my Storytime channel.